evening, everybody. Sunday night is upon us at last. It is corner to corner time right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. What's going on, everybody? It's me, Stan Grubb, and 2/3 of the triple threat are here tonight. Myself and the one and only Brian Taylor. How are you tonight, Brian?
Not bad, Stan. You?
I am living the dream, sir. Living the dream. And, of course, we are joined, as always, by the masters of the ones and twos, the Magic City Motorman himself, Fast Eddie Lane. What's up, sir?
Beautiful day in paradise for everybody who is out and about during the afternoon hours. Stay the hell off my roads because I was driving, and if you got in my way, that's your ass.
Well, so if you're in the near Eddie's house, ever.
Get off my road. You kids, get out of my yard.
Get off my grass. Oh, my goodness. Well, folks, it's been an exciting week as always. Finally, the Bullet Club have debuted on Raw. Very cool to see. Well, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson debuted. What they're going to do next, we don't know. Let's see. We've got the tag team tournament to talk about. Got some interesting stuff that was brought up throughout the broadcasting week here on the Beyond Ringside Network. But we'll lead off with something actually I just saw on Twitter just a few moments ago. Breaking news. Wish I had like one of those glass shatter sound effects. Jim Cornette says on the Ross Report that the success of Shinsuke Nakamura is dependent upon how Vince McMahon sees him. Cricket. That is the single stupidest thing I have ever heard. No freaking ish. Sorry. Really, Jim? Really, Jim?
Wow.
Holy crap.
You?
Okay, so what's next? Roman Reigns, got to make him look strong because he could be the next big thing. Really? I mean, let's just throw some more, great things out there. Cesaro could hold the brass ring. Words of wisdom from the bitter one himself, Jim Cornette. What? How is this news? Why does this get posted?
Because it's out of his mouth, and people will buy anything.
I mean, I would have to agree with you, but here's the thing. When Jim Cornette, and I do respect Jim Cornette for all he has done, but this quote from him, his interview with Jim Ross, is not news. As a matter of fact, it's barely even a quote. It's like saying water is wet, the sky is blue, wind blows. I mean, what the hell? Okay, I mean, Cornette has a tremendous mind in general, but we already know that for the industry itself, for wrestling and how to put together characters and all of that, Jim Cornette definitely has his own unique take and is a brilliant wrestling mind. No doubt, no conspiracy, controversy there, no debate. It's just the truth. But for a guy like Jim Cornette, he sits down with Jim Ross and talks about how different characters so their success is dependent upon Vince McMahon. And the entire quote here, obviously, everything in WWE depends on how Vince sees something. But he hasn't had the best track record, and I'll tell you, it's not a racist thing with international stars. Why he feels the need to throw that in there, I don't know. Whether it be luchadors, whether it be Japanese talent, or whether it be anybody from Europe, sometimes the chairman does not understand what they have meant to their world because he's so isolated in his, and he tries possibly to remake them in the image that he perceives for them, and that may not work. I think a guy like Nakamura, he's another guy like Austin, Brock Lesnar, and essentially the more he's himself and allowed to do his thing, the better off he'll be. For the entire quote there, that's what Jim Cornette said to Jim Ross just recently on his Ross Report. You can find that on Pius 1, by the way. For the entirety of the quote, for the comment that he makes, he's not necessarily off the mark, but the real earth-shattering thing here, the real almost annoying thing here, is that a dirt sheet, WrestlingNews.co, felt the need to post this as if it was some kind of breaking news story. And, just for everybody listening right now, this isn't the only time that they post something that's absolutely immaterial to the world of professional wrestling. As a matter of fact, 90% of the time of things that they're posting is stuff that's been exhausted, stuff that just nobody is really paying attention to, Unless, maybe they've got some kind of an inside guy. But I kind of doubt it because everything that they've posted, I saw 2 days beforehand on lordsofpain.net. Sorry, WrestlingNews.co, you still are falling short. You're going to have to step it up and maybe find something different, because that was mind-numbing. I think I'm dumber for now having read that.
Wow. That's all I can say here. Wow.
Well, I mean, Brian, you know that Jim Cornette having an opinion, not a shock. Jim Cornette having an opinion about Vince McMahon, also not a shock. But to say something as just blanket as that, I mean, is it really, would you take the time to post and advertise that as a news feed?
No, because in reality, that's the truth. To me, there's nothing newsworthy about that. There's, but maybe the people that are doing that website, maybe they think they're trying to scoop somebody or something. It's hard to say. Again, the Booker man controls every wrestler's fate. We all know that. I don't know. Maybe somebody was drunk when they put it up, or said, God, the fans will love this news here. Who knows? That's not the type of stuff we would report, though, as it stands.
No, not really. Not really. I just found it annoying. One of those annoying moments of wrestling history, I guess. Hey, here's another big news bit, and this one is actually newsworthy. Reported just yesterday, Adam Rose and Connor from the Ascension have been suspended each 60 days for their second violation of the company's wellness policy. Couldn't have come at a worse time from Adam Rose, being that part of the Social Outcasts, which is a very popular group. And for Connor, I mean, this being his second violation and hasn't had anything else really going on, this definitely doesn't help him.
It's a shame, especially to me, about Rose, because what was that show where they were showing him at home with his family? And you remember what it was, Stan? When it was
ESPN 30 for 30, I think.
Was that it? And they were talking to him, and I mean, he seems like a nice guy, and seemed like he really was trying hard. But it's a shame something like this will set you back, especially again when he's probably, the height of his popularity in this little run that he's having. So,
well, and I think I may have actually heard this earlier today, but actually I'm positive. I believe Mabo said something about this earlier on Beyond Ringside. How cool would it be if they just plugged Damian Sandow into the mix to take the place of Adam Rose?
That might be interesting. I would much rather see Damian on his own, though, because I think he's untapped potential. I actually like him. I think he's untapped potential. When he was with The Miz, and by the end of that little run, I mean, he was clearly stealing the show from The Miz. So I think they, I'd much rather see him on his own.
Would you take the time and replace Adam Rose, being that he's going to be out for 60 days?
No, I might let them just make a little fun at it, and maybe he would be off with a hangnail or something that he, every time he put his sock on, it was just too excruciating, but he'll be back, or
Hey, hangnails can be excruciatingly painful.
That is true.
They have been known to keep people out for extended periods of time.
Yeah, I think it was a year and a half.
At least.
Suckers. Yeah, so, that's not, I not really making light of, the what he did, or, what he got caught pissing for, but, come up with some excuse, kind of like, didn't they do it with Orton in Evolution or something? If I remember right, wasn't he? like out, but they came up with some other excuse saying why he couldn't wrestle. Was that the cast incident? Or,
there was a time where he had broken his collarbone. I think it was his first collarbone break, and he took about 6 months to come back. And in the process of rehabbing and coming back, he tested positive for some illegal substance, and he hit his first 30-day wellness violation. And what they did was they tied it into the Randy News Network and made it so that he was charting the percentage that he was at when he was getting ready to come back. So it was just before Evolution, but he was a bad guy. What I remember of it was that it was unfortunate because I think at the time, this is when that synthetic marijuana had started coming out called Spice, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
And basically all the guys in the back, because, you know, this was at the time where marijuana wasn't necessarily frowned upon, but, you know, they were trying to get everybody away from it. You know, they got Rob Van Dam, which is like the proponent of marijuana. Him and Val Venus, between the two of them, I think you could find a farm. But, you know, they were trying to gear them away from it. They hadn't officially gone PG or non-PG, but they were trying to be a lot more serious about the wellness policy. And I remember that because at first what we were told was basically that Orton's shoulder just was healing slowly, and then very quietly on WWE's corporate site, which used to be where they would post the wellness violations. If you can remember, the corporate site used to do the wellness violation postings, and the WWE.com or WWF.com that it was at the time was simply posting what was storyline related. So it was interesting. You'd see, you know, reports, Randy Orton's shoulder not healing very well. Orton expected to be out for another 30 days. And then you find the report that Randy Orton actually tests positive for his first wellness violation. And then the second time around, he was in Evolution, and they did an injury / suspension thing. And then his third one, which most people don't know about, was right around WrestleMania 24. And they kept it under wraps, much like they did for Batista.
Nice. Now, for the record, nobody at Corner to Corner nor Beyond Ringside Radio is actually saying that somebody has a grow operation anywhere. So forgive us, RVD and Val Venus.
Well,
and
I mean, you know,
lying that you have a grow operation.
I would never insinuate that. I just said it would be, you know, it's surprising that they're not. I didn't say they have it. I just said it's surprising that they don't.
I'm just saying, could be DA listening. You know, Janet Reno's trying to shut me down. She can't shut me down.
Is she even still alive?
I don't know.
Not for a lack of trying.
She's trying to get to Brian from the grave, from beyond.
Hey, I bring it real. You know what I'm saying?
Put the Mary Jane down. Put the Mary Jane down.
Quit breaking the law, asshole.
Oh, man. Rob, we miss you, buddy. I know that you're out there and you're probably listening, but you're out there in the great beyond as far as vacation time. I wonder what Rob's doing right now. What do you think he's doing right now, Brian?
What time is it? 9:12?
Think he's in bed?
Probably trying to find Rob Van Dam's grow farm.
You know, the funniest part of that is what Brian and I were talking about before we went on the air tonight. Oh, good. Rob couldn't handle that. I'm just telling you, he couldn't handle it.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
You know, as long as he's having a good time, as long as he enjoyed Jimmy Buffett, and then tomorrow night enjoy, who is it again?
He's going to see Pearl Jam tomorrow night. Lucky bastard that he is. Saw Jimmy Buffett for free.
Last night.
And tomorrow night, he's going to see Pearl Jam. I'm jealous. I gotta say, I'm jealous.
Yeah, I would like to have seen Jimmy. That would have been fun. So,
have fun, Rob. We're thinking of you, buddy.
Don't have too much fun though.
That's
be
how.
piss test in your future.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Shoot straight, buddy. Shoot straight.
Ouch.
Alrighty, let's talk some wrestling.
Hey, here's some interesting news. Now, we should have talked about this last week, but we kind of got off track. Brian, you may have actually already heard about this. TNA has moved from their office location to now the warehouse location where the ShopTNA.com merchandise is stored as well. There's multiple reports about this, and I have been very vocal about it on Twitter as far as whether or not what's being reported is legitimate or not. But here's the report. From multiple sources, the report has been that TNA was going to be evicted from their office location. Now, I say this is according to reports and say going to be because we truly don't know for certain if they were definitely evicted. But apparently the process was in place and they were getting ready to do so. They being whoever was in charge of the building they were renting from. According to reports, they were behind on rent for the building, and they were basically starting the process of getting them removed from the building. Now, TNA has kind of responded to the reports, and I say this because they didn't really go public with it except to announce that they were moving to the warehouse location, and then conveniently information is leaked to the Observer and to the Torch, basically stating that this has been part of their plan all along to kind of downsize their office location. The problem here is this is yet another unfortunate stab that TNA just can't afford as far as negative press, because now apparently they're trying to find investors. And this is kind of a side note, unrelated, but it's odd all at the same time. The investors that have shown interest in TNA have only shown interest if Dixie Carter decides to not have controlling interest.
Well, see, I've also read that some of the investors are now giving them money to keep the doors open and keep them on TV.
Well,
so
when
don't know who the investors are, but
yeah,
apparently TNA is in really bad shape right now, which is a shame. But if you get rid of Dixie, maybe they can turn it around.
And this isn't to say that TNA's in-ring product has been bad. As a matter of fact, this past 4 months, TNA's in-ring product has been very good. But as we've seen over time and over again with TNA, it doesn't seem to matter what they do, who they bring in, who goes over, who's champ, because the needle just doesn't move. For at least 3 years now, it would seem like the needle is stuck in place.
Well, I think they probably have a core audience, but they've never really come up with anything big to bring new people in as far as the fans. And I don't know why, because, there have been some pretty decent storylines they've had that I actually enjoyed. They've had spurts of 3-4 months where they put out some decent product, but they just can never draw in the new fan to, maintain the new fan base. So, because like some weeks their numbers will go up, the next week it drops, 50,000 people. So I'm not quite sure why, but they just don't have any sustainability.
If you're in charge of TNA, you're the one holding the keys. What's the first step you do? Do you start firing people and cutting other people loose? Do you start a hiring spree from the indies or from the regionals? What do you do?
I'm trying to remember the name of the tournament. The one they did a couple years ago where they brought in the outside talent, and they,
the open door,
they would
the open door policy
title. What was it?
Open door policy.
Yeah. That's what I would do. I would do exactly like the WWE. I'd try and go scour the countryside for some of the best and brightest talent, and bring them in, and hey, if we can turn this around, so much the better. I'd bring back the was the X Division title. Those matches were always great. I'd put more emphasis on your women's division, since they have a good women's division. And I'd try and draw somebody away from WWE with some type of name recognition. That's what I would do. But you got to be smart about it, and I just don't think they're smart about it.
And Eddie is a avid TNA fan, not to mention supporter. I think supporter is probably a better descriptor of that. Eddie, with everything you've seen challenge-wise for TNA, whether it be business investment-wise, advertising, signings that just don't seem to make any sense, I think all three of us would agree that TNA's in-ring product is not the problem. The problem seems to stem from poor planning. You being a veteran of the industry, what would be your first steps?
Quit taping so many damn shows in advance.
Hallelujah! Sorry, I had to say it.
Number 2, those who have no clue about wrestling, get them out of positions of power. Number 3, holy WCW, Batman. Allow no one who has a title push in the future to be anywhere near the damn book. Kevin Nash. How you doing? Long time no see. By the way, Ricky Morton said hi.
Oh my gosh.
Now, from that vantage point, you've been doing to the front office and creative team in Impact Wrestling. You've been doing very well about giving the people a good in-ring product. I would hold a gun to everybody in the audience's heads and tell them, if you send a message to any wrestling website providing spoilers, we will redecorate with your cerebellum. Please do not use phones. You can take pictures all you want to. Please respect the fact that we're trying to put out a product here. And if you can't respect it, get the hell out of our building. I guarantee your line will be longer. You do 2 shows back to back. Go live every once in a while if Access will let you. Pop TV. I've got, here's me right now. I've got, New Japan on television, so hey, I love my DVR. AT&T Uverse, you better not screw me up. That's all I got to say about that, or I will rip you publicly just like I have Charter. And I know the rep is listening too. But the fact of the matter is, there are little things that can be done. Quit taping so many damn one-night-only pay-per-view things that nobody's watching. Don't put a ton of stuff on YouTube. Give people incentive to turn on your broadcast. If Lords of Pain, Meltzer, and Keller, and all the rest of the dweebs that run sites can't access your stuff so they can say, hey, here's what's happening in 6 weeks on TNA Wrestling. Don't tape that far in advance to freaking begin with, guys.
Well, I agree with you. I think that a lot of the problems that TNA runs into is poor planning, lack of thought, lack of maybe forward thinking would be a better description. They just can't seem to get out of their own way. I think Dixie Carter is a great businesswoman, but not a great wrestling woman. And I think there's a difference. I think she was clearly successful with what she was doing before she got to wrestling. Or maybe she just likes daddy's money. With, spoilers and everything for TNA, the fact that they tape 8 programs at a time, plus their one-night-only pay-per-views, yeah, that kills it for me. I have trouble buying into anything that's not live programming unless I know that it's happened and I still haven't seen spoilers for it. Like Lucha Underground. Love Lucha Underground. But there is a reason that Lucha is growing so quickly, whereas some of these other companies that have attempted to be on television are struggling. And the reason for that is a general amount of respect that Eddie alluded to. And I think that there's something to be said for, I would say, re-educating the fans that come to your tapings. Not necessarily taking their phones away, because good luck doing that. But educating them to what your goal is. And if they're going to be Kool-Aid drinkers for TNA, and Lord knows there's a lot of them, you know, for all the people that apparently are not watching the program, if you look on social media, Impact is supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread. But you got to start re-educating your fan base. You've got to start re-educating them towards what your goals are. And if they're going to be part of your success, then you have to let them in on the deal. And like Eddie said, hey, listen, you know, we are attempting to, even if it's only 4 shows at a time, this is our goal. Please respect the talent by, I don't know, you could say not posting spoilers, or you know, try to find a way to do it in a way where it's diplomatic. But I think that that's a wise decision.
I would agree with that. Well, what about this? All right, so they have this King of the Mountain title that they managed to get a hold of during the Global Force storyline. Why not use that title and showcase talent from other federations, some of the smaller federations, and make it an open, you know, an open challenge almost for this King of the Mountain title, and anybody's welcome. And for the first time ever, actually make it that way where, you know, a talent from Ring of Honor, all these other promotions can come in and compete for it. But it's taped on TNA programming. I'm sure you'll get people to turn in for something like that, because you're probably going to get some pretty decent matches.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that there's a lot of room for cross-promoting that Ring of Honor has been very successful with. Evolve was successful with. PWG, Chikara, very successful with. And this is just to name a few. With TNA, why is it that they can't seem to figure this out? Something has to move the needle for this company. There's got to be something.
I think it's probably pure ego. It's Dixie probably won't do what's best for business, and she's going to do what's best for her mind, and to where she's just can't see the forest for the trees. So, case in point, let's look at again the Global Force storyline. Personally, I would have let them win it all. And then have a, 6-month storyline where we're trying to get it back. And, just build and build and build for 6-7 months on this crazy little storyline, and, let them have it for a few months and then get it back somehow. And you probably would have had mad business that way. Because that's, again, never been done. You've never had an invasion angle where the invaders have taken over, other than, I guess you could call the NWO. But they, again, that was a screw up on WCW's part. But again, that to me might be the only successful invasion angle, if you want to call it that I know of.
I think as far as invasions, takeovers, whatever storyline you want to categorize it as, yeah, the NWO was probably the most successful one that I've ever seen. I don't know that we will ever see TNA ever get any further than where they are right now, but it seems like every single time that they are close to breaking away, something happens, whether it's financial or otherwise, and they fall right back to where they were.
Hmm. So the other thing, too, is now they're starting to lose their homegrown talent. And, you know, that was one reason why I watched TNA was for Rude and Storm and Samoa Joe and AJ. Yeah, that really pissed me off when y'all let him go.
Yeah, I mean, you can't afford to let those kinds of talents walk out the door.
Well, Austin Aries, that was another one that pissed me off when he left.
That's a huge loss.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at pro wrestling as a whole, the landscape of it changes with each free agent signing that you let go. And the landscape changes as WWE continues to learn how to branch out. I mean, the amazing thing that I'm seeing is that they branch with Evolve, which I don't think any of us really saw coming. But Triple H has his finger on the pulse continuously and knows how to get there, knows what his goal is, and knows how to continue to scout talent and bring them in, which is why we have a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura in NXT very soon, in my opinion, the WWE main roster, which is why we have a guy like Prince Devitt, or now known as Finn Balor, who is just today eclipsed Neville as the longest reigning NXT champion of all time, like the breaking the record. I mean, we have seen a lot of talent by the WWE, and for as much negative as people put out there about the some rightfully so, some not so much, it's interesting to me to see they manage by simply doing what we wish other companies would do. I mean, Ring of Honor has done it in small amounts, and they've shown growth from it. That's probably why we never hear controversy or bad, negative press about Ring of Honor, because they just keep going. They just keep their heads down and keep going. And they tape lots of programs. They tape time, but they still manage to keep it under wraps, and they still do okay. But at the same time, people aren't studying Ring of Honor's ratings the way that they study TNA's.
1 hour show versus 2 hour show.
I mean, I think about
True.
Bottom of the hour.
And to me, the other thing about TNA, and the other thing about Ring of Honor, I have to watch these matches. You just can't read a spoiler and get the gist of the match. You watch these matches because all of them are spectacular matches, and I think that's what separates Ring of Honor from TNA.
I think that's one of the things that we pay attention for every week when we're looking at some of these matches that both Ring of Honor and TNA brings. Folks, we're headed to our first break of the evening. We're going to dive into a topic that was brought up earlier this week that I think Brian and I will definitely have, of course, a corner-to-corner unique spin. So stick and take our first break of the evening. When we come back, we'll be talking about some interesting stuff right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Corner to Corner. We'll be right back with you in just a couple minutes.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined Show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Do you like beer? Do you like business? Do you like businesses that make beer? Then you'll love this new show. It's the Beer Trail Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Price, and we're going to travel through the world of craft beer and talk to the breweries and see how they got started and what inspired them to make their beer. So check it out at thebeertrailpodcast.com and tell your friends, and hope to see you on the trail.
Welcome back, everybody, to Corner Radio, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com. If you're listening in tonight, hopefully you're joining us through TuneIn, through iHeartRadio, through ProWrestlingRadio.net, wherever it is that you're joining us from. Make sure you tell your friends, tell all your friends, tell your family, tell them to tell their friends and their family, and so on and so on. And let's just keep this thing growing. Not your liver spot.
Your dog spot.
Not your son's spot.
Your dog spot.
My spot.
No, not your spot.
It would be an honor. Sorry. For all of the infamy that was WCW, that was probably one of the funnier skits.
You shut your pie hole.
At the time, well, you remember at the time, Arn Anderson wasn't happy about that. He was actually really unhappy about it. There was talk that there was a confrontation in the back between Kevin Nash and Arn Anderson immediately after that segment finished. Immediately after they went off of air from that segment.
Oh, I would imagine. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was hilarious, but it was a little in bad taste, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, it always makes you wonder when segments like that happen, what their thought process was before they go out there. Like when the DX parody of The Nation happened, it wasn't in poor taste, but there was a lot of pushing the envelope race-wise with that. So you always wonder, like, when they're sitting out there, backstage in Gorilla, do they tell each other, okay, just follow the script and we'll be fine? Do they just make it up as they go? I wish that would be an ideal interview, would be to interview, the group that did the NWO Horseman parody, or DX, of course, about their parody of The Nation. That'd be a fun interview. Fun topic, anyway.
Well, I think certain members of either of those groups, that would probably be a blast just to reminisce about that skits alone.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't have to be completely career encompassing, because I think they've done those to death. But yeah, just to sit down and pick their brains, man, how did you feel going out there when you knew, like X-Pac, when he's making fun of Mark Henry, it had to have been an awkward position for him to be, trying to pretend like Mark Henry is Fat Albert, especially knowing Mark Henry the way that we know him from television and how they describe him off TV as this nice guy, teddy bear kind of guy. To see them do that, it's like, wow, I wonder his reaction. I wonder what their thoughts were. Just the whole 9 yards.
Well, I'd be curious to know if in the WWE, the DX one, if the Nation knew it was coming, where I could see in WCW that you would just be blindsided from it and nobody would have told anybody. Bischoff would have known, some of the rest of them, but Arn would have never known. But I'd be curious to know if the Nation knew it was coming.
I wonder why JBL didn't ask Farouk about that, didn't ask The Rock about that. He's doing all these interviews. I'm sure he's going to get a chance to interview The Rock, but I wonder what Ron Simmons thought of that.
That'd be interesting to ask.
He wasn't in the Nation at that time, though, was he? He had already been kicked out.
Yeah, he'd been kicked out because it was D'Lo, Owen Hart,
Kama,
Mark Henry.
Right. And Jason Sensation was the one that imitated Owen Hart. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look how big my damn nose is. That guy was hilarious. I think he's one of the funniest impressionists that I've ever heard. Him and Will Sasso. And Frank Caliendo, if you're really talking about impressionists.
Yeah, they do okay.
So, Brian, here's a good question for you. Thursday night, this question was brought up. It actually came through from one of the network's good friends, Ted Guinness, in reference to the match between Nakamura and Sami Zayn, saying that his comment was that it had surpassed Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage from WrestleMania 3 as one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. I would love to know your thoughts on this topic.
Well, I don't know if I'll go that far, but again, I'll stick by what I said last week, that match could be the preview of a main event of a WrestleMania somewhere down the road. And if they don't capitalize on that, the WWE, Vince McMahon, Triple H, all of them are idiots. Again, WrestleMania, 36, 37, a couple years down the road, that would be a beautiful main event.
I think for the drama of the match, the impact, the story they told while not having to have really any build-up. I said it on Thursday and I'll say it here. This match easily could have been that type of match, could still be held as this kind of match in 10 years where young wrestlers just coming up say, when I watched Nakamura versus Zayn, that was what made me want to be a pro wrestler. That was what made me want to be in WWE. I could see that.
I agree. I'm trying to sit here and think if there's like one match that I saw two wrestlers do, earlier in their careers to be like, oh wow, I want to see that in a main event spotlight a few more years down the road. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it leaves me wanting more, and very few matches actually do that. Where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see this again. I want to see this again. And again, to me, looking at that reaction, I think that match was the best match we've had all year. I think it was clearly the best match of the weekend, of anything televised. Best match we've seen in a long time. And again, they would just be foolish not to capitalize on it. And I can understand leaving Nakamura on next for a while and letting Zayn, build up on the main roster. But we need to see a part 2 in a main event on the main roster somewhere down the road. And if they don't, they're going to lose millions.
Now you go from looking at a matchup like Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn to a match that I know I never thought I would see with the upcoming main event for Payback, AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns for the World Championship. What are the odds AJ Styles comes away with the title?
To me, if they're smart, they let him have it. Mm-hmm. I think with Reigns, you've now backed yourself into a corner. I don't think Reigns really would be able to put on quality matches with certain types of wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Whereas with AJ, I think AJ could cover, pretty much the entire roster and put on a good match. Now, even on SmackDown, AJ and Del Rio, I thought that was actually a pretty good match.
Except Del Rio tried to kill him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was a very, very scary move.
It was irresponsible, I think, of Del Rio, but at the same time, I wonder if it's a freak incident. Just one of those things where one guy goes the wrong way by accident, and it just happens that way.
I watched it a couple times, and when he goes to flip AJ back, you can kind of see AJ's foot kind of get caught up in the corner, because you can kind of see it just hit the corner, and that may have just thrown him off, just a little bit to get that bad landing. Again, I would have been like, no, you're not doing that to me out of that corner. There's too many. Oh my goodness, he landed right square on his head. That was crazy. And when he was holding it, I was like, well, there goes AJ's, right couple months in, AJ's now going to be hurt off of some dumb move.
Well, I mean, when you talk about injuries, how about the injury to Bray Wyatt overseas, hurting his calf, sent home from the European tour? We still don't know how long he's going to be out, but in the midst of what many would say was a desired face turn for the Wyatt family, now Bray Wyatt is sidelined.
I agree. To me, that it's. I really hate when the WWE finally listens to their audience and starts to push somebody that should have gotten to push, for months or years, just like Daniel Bryan, when they finally start to really push him, the most over guy in, probably since Austin or The Rock. You finally push him, and then next thing you know, his body is so broken that he's got to retire.
Right.
And he had so much, the biggest crowd reactions, the fans loved him, and you made him chase that title for damn near a year. And then when you finally give it to him, well, you've broken him, and now everybody's favorite little toy has to be put up on the shelf, and we never really got to see, what he could have done. And I think Bray's the same way. I love Bray. I love the Wyatt family. It pisses me off that he hasn't been pushed to a higher status. And now, who's he facing? He's facing the champ. Looks like things are turning around, and look what happens. He gets some injury. You don't know how long he's out. It's nuts. I know injuries happen, but I get tired of seeing injuries happen to quality wrestlers at the worst time possible.
I can't think of a time where the WWE's roster has been this challenged by injuries. I mean, I really can't remember a time. Well, not just WWE, but WCW, TNA. I mean, there's been so many injuries in WWE within the past 6 to 8 months. It's hard to fathom. You're eventually going to, if you continue at this breakneck pace, which the WWE has consistently been criticized for, continuing at this pace, man, how do you recover? Eventually, Roman Reigns remains your champion because of the process of elimination, and there's nobody left.
Yeah, it's been terrible. They've had a very bad run on injuries, going back to, several months, and it's crazy. I don't remember a time seeing it like this.
Eddie, can you think of a time where a roster was depleted so quickly?
Oh, Lord, other than when WCW raided ECW?
And even then, I mean, ECW was able to continue because of the fact that their talents were all healthy, which to me is still hard to fathom considering what they were doing in the ring.
I mean, considering the factor of that everybody has pushed their game up that much more, and this is something that I've got to say, because I understand in-ring injuries, I understand an ankle injury big time, and there have been situations in play where somebody developed ankle injuries. That calf injury is something that scares the hell out of me, because if you don't, look, there are a couple of injuries that you can work through. There are a couple of injuries that you can't work through, and a calf is one of them. Because if you have the least tear in your calf, get off it. Seriously, get off the damn thing. Rest that leg for a couple of days. Ice it down, warm it up, all of the above. Jacuzzi, hot tub, Swedish massage, doesn't matter. I mean, you don't want to do deep tissue on that because that'll actually hurt. But seriously speaking, I mean, all kidding aside, if it's a start of a partial tear in the calf itself, sit out, go home, ice it, lay down, because even walking on a calf injury will aggravate it and tear it that much more, and you could do some serious long-term damage to it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He definitely needs to get off of it, not do something stupid where he comes back early. Because again, I think he was on the verge of finally getting that big push. But the problem is now, what do you do with Strowman and God bless. I got old timers disease. Goat face.
Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman. Yeah. I mean, you can't really do a whole lot. You put them in tag teams, I guess. Just have them.
But who do you have? Because here's the thing: if you put them in a tag team, right, or just keep them as tag teams and let them run tag teams, what tag team really are you going to put against them?
Gosh,
the Dudleys? Or oh wow, we just got this new tag team in, and they're really big and they're really popular, and let's put them with the Bullet Club or Balor Club or whatever they're called. And then you got the lesser of the two evils. Which one you gotta put over? I just don't know what you would do with them now. Now that Bray's out.
I think that's the problem with the lack of planning in these types of situations. I mean, nobody can really plan to see what happens when a top star gets injured, but when you have supporting role characters like Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan, you've got to have a plan almost all the time, just in your back pocket, just in case. Because now here you are, just like Brian described. If you put them in the ring against the incoming Bullet Club, well, now you're wasting that potential big money match that you could have held on to for 6 months. Now you're putting them in a position where they have to almost spin their wheels. And from a realistic standpoint, are you going to see the Usos, the Dudleys, the Vaudevillains, Enzo and Cass, and now Gallows and Anderson? Are you going to see them get beat by the Wyatt family when there's no Bray Wyatt? No, probably not.
Hell no.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because both guys are competent performers in the ring, but you're not going to see it. You're not going to see that kind of occurrence right now. So ultimately, they're going to spin their wheels, and if Bray's out for 3 months, boy, that's a career ender for Eric Rowan and for Braun Strowman if they don't improve.
Now, to me, if Luke Harper was still there,
yeah,
and I don't know when he's coming back, but if he was still there, okay, maybe I keep moving it along. Mm-hmm. But to me, without Bray and without Luke, those two are just kind of like dead in the water.
Yep. And Braun Strowman is a young guy. I mean, this is a bad time for this to happen to him.
Yeah. It's crazy. Again, I just really hate when people that deserve the push, they just string them along for so long, and then when it finally happens, and you're like, oh, okay, we're going to have some fun watching wrestling again, bam, an injury happens, and he's out. And it's like, oh, you just wasted months and months of storytelling and everything else, when we all know Bray should be competing for the world title on a regular basis, not necessarily winning it, but you're just wasting his talent. Have any of y'all seen prior to Bray where once the music hits and the lights go out, everybody rips out their cell phone and flicks the little light on? And I mean, he's supposed to be a bad guy, but everybody in the arena does it.
I think it happened one night when Sonny went on mass Twitter for free. I mean, Skype. Damn it, I messed up.
Well, I don't think they turned on their cell phones. I think well, never mind. I'm not going to do it. But, I mean, you remember when Bray Wyatt was brand new to the main roster and the entire audience was singing "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands" to John Cena? I mean, it was awesome. These were moments that you'll never get back. But at the same time, I mean, he was supposed to be a bad guy. For all intents and purposes, here's the scariest individual to come through the doors since The Undertaker, and fans eat it up like, I mean, he's the most popular thing in the world.
Yeah,
he's just that good.
Yeah, and,
you know why?
And what's truly sad is they finally figure out a way to make him a bad guy and a good guy with him saying, well, we're just finally going to do whatever we want.
Right.
We don't have to just go after good guys. We'll go after bad guys. If we want your title, we'll come for your title. You just don't know where we're going to come. And they finally figure it out. And now 2 of them are out. And the other 2, they're just going to spin.
Well, and Eric Rowan just came off of a shoulder injury 4 months ago. So, I mean, this couldn't happen at a worse time for him. For what's that?
Baron Corbin, perfect fill-in for Bray Wyatt.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh, but what do you do with them after Wyatt comes back?
Wyatt versus Corbin, battle for dominance.
That would be good. That would be really good. So here's how you put that together. I've already got fantasy booking in my head for this. You do Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. You make Baron Corbin the only guy to decidedly defeat Braun Strowman, establishing dominance over one. You have him run right through Eric Rowan, and then you say, "This is my family now." Don't
put him over Strowman. Let that be a special event. That's going to have to be a big one, because if you can have Baron Corbin leading into the Wyatts, don't necessarily let it be a bad thing. Don't let it be he beat them down and he's taking control.
They can beat him into servitude.
Wait a minute. Let it come across like, Bray abandoned you. I'm here. I'll join you. I'll fight with you. I'll lead you. And they're like, okay, let's kick somebody's ass. Here we go. And then when Wyatt comes back and is healthy again, why have my brothers betrayed me? And then you can go ahead and lay it all out there for Corbin versus Wyatt. Let that program go on for at least 2 to 3 months. And like I said, you've got a long-form program in place if you can keep everybody healthy.
Vince, we are all available, sir. Triple H, all of us are available.
Can't afford me.
Send paychecks to Alabama, Locust Grove, Virginia, Culpeper, Virginia. We're all available. We can accept checks.
Well, let's take that thought one step further. If you did something like that, I think the best thing to do, and to really give this feud momentum when he comes back, is to have Strowman and Rowan finally win the tag team title. Because then he'd be like, you didn't win it with Bray, but I helped you get there, and I'm going to help you keep it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Fantasy booking right here on Corner to Corner. I love it. I love it, damn it. You know what? It's top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and take our next break of the evening.
Here's your kick in the nuts.
Uh-oh.
Why I gotta throw a kick in the nuts, man?
Wait, let me get my cup out. Okay, kick away.
When Bray comes back and he's blindsided by Corbin and possibly even the rest of the Wyatts, why not have him go to Undertaker and Kane for a little bit of help? 6-man.
Oh, jeez.
And then when it's all said, done, and over, Corbin, beat down, left by the wayside, the brothers come back to Bray, and they turn on Undertaker and Kane. Kane can carry the torch for a little while. Vince, I just gave you 6 months right there. You better put another hot dog in my pay envelope.
And a Coke.
No. Please. Bottled water. Dasani lemon.
And Diva.
No, just drinking healthy.
Only the best for air guy.
That's right. Only the best for Eddie Lane.
Hey, even though it is a Coca-Cola product, and I'm not that big on Coca-Cola's, Dasani Lemon is one of the better ones out there, and it's actually healthy.
Folks, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, there's so much more to talk about. You wouldn't even believe it. Stick with us right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, right here on Corner to Corner. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It is hour 2 time right here on Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio, where 2/3 of the triple threat are in the house. Rob is on vacation, so it's myself, Stan Grubb, and my long-time good, close personal friend and tag team partner, Brian Taylor.
Hola again.
And as always, joined by the Magic City Motor Mouth himself, Fast Eddie Lane.
Well, almost always, and I'm able to make it where I can.
You know, I think you do a pretty good job. You're a lot better on the board than I am. We'll just put it to you that way.
The incomparable Eddie Lane.
Exactly.
Every day is a learning experience. I found that out last night.
I sent out... What happened last night?
Oh.
Yeah. Remember, we are PG.
Peach tape.
Okay. Tell me about what happened. Oh, that's right. You had... Get this, Brian.
Uh-huh.
So, Eddie Lane does commentary out there over at Peach State. Yeah. And he had a tag team partner last night.
A third person.
A third person named Curtis Hughes. Total Protection, Mr. Hughes himself.
Get out of here.
Oh, enjoyed the hell out of it.
Huh. How was he?
Now,
good.
Here's I was going to wait till Tuesday. As he clears his throat solemnly. Look, coming out of the starting blocks, I got my ass smoked. I'm going to be straight up and blunt about it. And
blunt, no pun intended.
I want to thank Shane Knowles, Rick Michaels, and Curtis Hughes for the wake-up call. And they gave me, and I don't think it was intended. I don't really think it was. I have my own psychology involved when it comes to approaching, especially early in the show. I kind of build myself in little by little, and Hughes came out blasting out of the starting blocks. So it's kind of like I pulled up on a Vespa scooter. He turned around and showed up on a Harley. So I went back to the garage and got out my big wheel and said, let's race. And Pierce just sat back and smiled throughout the whole scenario. And yeah, I will admit in the first few minutes of the first match, I did I was taken out of my game. Because of the intensity and the fire that Hughes brought to the microphone, and I'm greatly appreciative of it. This was not a negative experience by any stretch of the imagination. And Hughes was great. He was a hell of a lot of fun to work with. And I found my groove very quickly, basically flipped the switch and said, let's be yourself. Let's run. And I did. And for the rest of the night, it was like we're just back and forth. I kind of felt bad for David Pierce because of the fact that technically he is normally the guy in the one chair. And Hughes just came in and said, I'm planting my flag right here. Pull it up if you can. Later in the night, hello, I'm Fast Eddie Lane. Great to meet you. In the early part of the evening, it was, or like I said, in the first part of the first match, it was, okay, this is cool. Wake up call given. Wake up call accepted. Wake up call understood and appreciated. Thank you. But yeah, Curtis was a blast to work with. 6 great matches last night. Had a lot of fun from start to finish. Everything from Stitch Cypher or Stitch Osiris, as Hughes was calling him, because that's what when Hughes trained Stitch, that was the name that he used, was Osiris. And had to give him the brief on that one real quick, and he caught it about 2/3 of the way through the match. From there, Stitch took on Mike Posey. Great contest between these two. In a venue with a lower ceiling, they still found a way to fly. Pandora took on Ashton Starr. Very unique matchup. And Pandora and Ashton both looked crisp last night. I really enjoyed that match. 6-man tag team match almost turned into a street fight and damn well could have at the drop of a hat, as the Backbone, Zach Edwards, Marvelous Michael Stevens, and Drew Adler took on hashtag Trending Now. Ace Haven, Charles Sanders, and their partner Kevin Blue, along with Amy Haven at ringside. And then you had 3 second-round matches for the Quest to be the Best Heritage Title Tournament. And I will sit back and say this, for anybody who thought that AJ Steele and Sal Renaro was going to be anything less than 4 stars, you were wrong. But I'll cover everything a little bit more in depth this coming Tuesday on Back to Basics.
Sounds good.
But yeah.
So the King of Mean Mug, though, actually has a personality, huh?
Oh, hell yeah.
That's pretty cool. Because I never pictured him to have a, he never really brought it down on TV that I remember.
Oh, in genuine true, because remember, he was meant to be the strong silent type, and he played that role very well. He picked his spots very clearly. And I'll sit back and say this: I'm so used to seeing him in the traditional suit that I bumped into him in over at AWE back last month, and it took me a second to recognize him outside of the suit with the hat and the glasses. And he came up, shook my hand, said, "How you doing? Great to see you." And all of a sudden, it's like it blinked. "Curtis Hughes, what's up, dude?" He's like, "Took you a second, didn't I?" I said, "Yeah, because I'm used to seeing you in the suit every time I see you." And where's Dave Wills at? But, and he started laughing. He's like, "Dave's around here somewhere. He could show up at any minute." But yeah, Hughes always great to hang out with, great to talk to. And I will sit back and say this: the man is a fountain of information. He is a wealth of knowledge, and obviously a very accomplished trainer as well. This man has learned his lessons well and is very, very, there's some surprises coming up in the near future as it pertains to Hughes. I can tell you off air. I cannot say it on air under threat of death. And he's big enough. He can do it too.
I believe you. I mean, my shock is that not only was he lively behind the microphone, to Brian's point, but he was setting the standard, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, he came out of the starting blocks flying last night. And it took, I could hear Shane in the background, and he actually came up to me and said, "You struggled for a couple minutes in that first match." I said, "Yeah, I did. I underestimated the situation, which is my fault." I told the truth. I didn't expect Curtis to really just light it up as well as he did, and he just came out of the blocks flying. And I had to sit back and say, "Okay, time to be you." After it was all said, done, and over with, I thought he was only going to work the first half of the show. He came back for the second half of the show because at the end of the first half, he stood up, stuck his hand out, and said, "Dude, I really enjoyed calling this with you." It's like, thank you. The feeling is definitely mutual.
And this was recorded for DVD, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So we'll have to keep our ears open to listen in for the release date of said DVD so we can get our hands on it.
It will be available.
It will
be available on May 7th at the next live Peach State Wrestling Alliance show. And after that, it will be available through PeachStateWrestlingAlliance.com.
And Eddie should send us a copy of the preview for free. We can devote some time on Corner to Corner if we get one free. Maybe all your signature on it, because everybody loves Fast Eddie Lane.
Let me see what I can do.
Sweet.
Send those to Culpepper, care of Corner to Corner Radio at.
Maybe that's what we need to do is get a P.O. box. Wait, we don't want to do that. God only knows what will come in the mail.
Yeah.
Somebody sent us a dead squirrel. What the hell does that mean?
A dead squirrel?
Screw it, Stan. Go play with it, and we'll give it a review on the program.
We'll call it.
I don't think Corey could afford to send a horse head, so I'm figuring it'd be a dead squirrel.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't gonna do this.
Wow.
I wasn't. But a man can only take so much.
Well, now I'm gonna have to put the blame on Eddie there because Eddie brought him up prior to the show.
It's not necessarily Eddie's fault though, because for some reason this guy stuck in my craw, and this will be. Sorry, Rob had to miss it. This will be the only time I address him live on the air. This will be, get your iTunes and everything ready, whatever you want to do. This will be the only time I identify this guy on air and comment to it. Otherwise, ask me privately on Twitter. Maybe I'll give you answers.
There you go.
So here's the situation, guys. The question I get asked quite often is, where's Wrestle Rage? What happened to Wrestle Rage? What happened to Corey? Now, I'm not going to do what we would consider inside baseball, so if you're looking for that, it's not going to happen. But I will tell you this. From a professional standpoint, there's only a couple of things that I stick to wholeheartedly. Respect the business and respect the people I work with. I do not tolerate fans news sheets, dirt sheets, insiders, etc., that do not respect the industry that they are representing, I never will. I never will accept that. It's the reason I don't root for a guy named Tom Brady. It's the reason that I don't get behind the honky tonk man. It's the reason that I am not an avid supporter of a guy named Rob Feinstein. These are all notable names in professional wrestling. For one reason or another, good names. They've made money. But here's the deal. I've been doing wrestling radio now for 5-6 years. And I am, of course, very, very indebted to Mr. Eddie Lane for helping me this entire way, for teaching me this entire way, for showing me how to convey my opinion in not just an effective manner, but a professional manner. I met Corey along the way before this actually started, and we had like-minded opinions. Very outspoken guy. All of you who have listened to us for any amount of time know this. But what I have an issue with is the inability to recognize when a fan is overstepped their boundaries and become what they consider to be that of a gimmick. Hence the reason the name Corey is who I know, and Smart Rage is who he knows. So that's a totally different guy. And I don't have a whole lot of respect for that character or that guy. I don't have a whole lot of understanding for him in his desires to do what he does. So, what happened to Wrestle Rage? Did a show one night. I had a very strong opinion as to how it was done towards the end, and some comments that were made live on air towards Eddie and myself. Generally speaking, as you've heard on Corner to Corner, I got no problem with having thick skin, playing along, and even some self-loathing humor. I do have a problem, however, with people that show little to no respect to the industry, to the wrestlers and performers and managers and promoters and announcers that, honestly, we want to talk to and we want to have something to do with. And I do have a very strong problem with people who disrespect others and do some things that are considered to be unsavory, borderline illegal, especially when they're supposed to represent the other side of that. That being the case, he was confronted in a private manner by myself and with Eddie present. I explained to him the situation. I let him know in no uncertain terms was I going to be going forward with anything related to what he was doing. But I did encourage him to continue to do Wrestle Rage. The answer to the question, where did Wrestle Rage go? Well, Corey is the question and Corey is the answer. He took it off the air. He made that decision. He's his own man. He's a grown boy. And he made the decision of what he was going to do. He's doing his own thing. I wish him well in that regard. I mean, I hope that he continues to thrive in whatever he wants to do. And for all intents and purposes, I really don't have a low opinion of the guy. Hell, I even tried to reach out to him a few months ago just to touch base and let him know that I hope he was doing good. That's where everything kind of stops for me, because apparently in that attempt, he saw it as an opportunity to run his mouth and say some stuff that didn't need to be said. And I didn't take too kindly to it. So the bottom line here is, as far as he and I are concerned, it's not a love-hate thing. It's just a parting of the ways that unfortunately became uncomfortable because of just a lack of respect. And that's something that just bothers me. And probably Brian can attest to this, and so can Rob if he were present this evening. Probably this is something that should have happened some time ago. And my desire was to continue to try to keep the ship afloat, keep the horse running, when it probably should have been put out of its misery a little while longer, or a little while ago before that. I'm grateful, though, because Corner to Corner has turned into something that I never would have imagined as far as the turnout and the success rate, and I'm very grateful to not just Eddie, but also to Rob, to Brian, and to our listeners who have turned Corner to Corner into something that I never imagined could be what it is, and it is just so much fun. So there you have it. There's your answer to your question. Whatever happened to this guy? I got questioned today. Where did he go? What happened? So there's your answers. That's what happened. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bravo, my good man. Bravo.
Now, here's an interesting thing I saw. There is, because of the injuries to Bray Wyatt, and the injuries that have been happening all over WWE, 2 guys have been added to the European tour. One is Shane McMahon. The other one, Triple H. So apparently Triple H is going to be stepping into the ring for the European tour, and he'll be facing, while he's overseas, Dean Ambrose. This is an interesting mix. Wonder if this is indicative of what's happening going forward.
I would think so, because again, you still have that, what was posted for Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just have to be patient till, Payback? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yep.
And see if the storyline plays out. Although I think that might actually be a pretty decent little feud, Triple H and Dean Ambrose. Might have some fun watching that one.
I did see something on Twitter the other day in reference to studies being done, just people keeping track of some statistics. Monday Night Raw with Triple H and Stephanie on it versus Monday Night Raw with Shane McMahon behind the helm. And one interesting statistic that stood out was the amount of time spent behind a microphone versus the amount of time spent in the ring. Apparently 18 minutes is the difference. 18 more minutes in the ring versus when Triple H was there doing promos.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Are you grateful?
I would have thought it would have been more.
Mm-hmm.
Because, sometimes there are those crazy little half-hour promos that really go nowhere. But 18 minutes, I mean, that's pretty significant. I'm sure some of these wrestlers are glad to have a few more minutes to put the best product on the table. And that's probably why, to me, you're getting some better matches going down right now. It's because they have a few more minutes. They don't have to be rushed to try and get everything on TV because somebody did some crappy promo about having sex with a dig person.
Hi, Triple H. How's it going?
Yeah. Hi, bud. Hi, Paul.
Well, wow. To your point, how about the time spent on the matchup between AJ Styles and Sami Zayn from this past Monday? What a match. AJ Styles is becoming a huge commodity in WWE in a very short amount of time.
But to me, he's always been a big commodity. It's just he was in TNA and he wasn't getting the mainstream exposure like he is now. When he was in New Japan and part of the Bullet Club, I mean, he really exploded. And then you throw in his appearances of Ring of Honor and any other place I've missed. But he's really gotten more exposure now than when he was in TNA. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and I think it was Christopher Daniels in a three-way. It's phenomenal matches. Phenomenal matches. They did it a couple times. If I remember, those are the three. He's always been a great competitor, always given the people what, their money's worth, but now he's in the truly the big pond, and I think he's taking advantage of it. I think his experience is going to push him forward, whereas somebody else might come in and be like, oh, I made it to the WWE. I can sit on my butt now. I think AJ truly has that desire to be the best, and hopefully he'll get the title.
I tell you, with a guy like AJ Styles, you have someone who can work with big guys, little guys, someone that can fly, who can work the mat, who can brawl. And we've seen it TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, and now we're going to be seeing this in WWE, which I love it. I love it. I think AJ Styles in the main event is extremely exciting. I'm all about it, and I think seeing AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn, seeing him versus Claudio, seeing him versus Dean Ambrose, seeing him versus Chris Jericho, all of these guys that he's been in the ring with and will be in the ring with, man, I would love to see AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. I think that's an entertaining thought. AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, and then AJ Styles, because we know this is going to happen, versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, these are matchups that we're going to see that will be awesome, and I can't wait. Some of the interesting things that I've been seeing as of late as far as NXT, the standout to me, not just their women's division, as we already know is solid, but their tag team division with American Alpha and the Revival. If you're not a believer in NXT and their tag team division, I don't know what to tell you. You're doing wrestling wrong, in my opinion, because, damn, these guys deliver consistently every time out. And we've even heard, on a singles standpoint, that there was Samoa Joe versus Nakamura at a house show. I mean, these are matches we need to be seeing.
Oh, that Samoa Joe and Nakamura, that's a shame if that happened on a house show and there's no footage of it. God, I would imagine that would have been a hell of a match.
I tell you, as I understand it, it blew the roof off. It was one of the best matches of the night. Well, I mean, it's NXT, so they consistently are competing with one another for match of the night or match of the whatever, match of the year. They always seem to pull out all the stops on NXT. I think Triple H's saving grace, WWE's saving grace, is the fact that NXT continues to work to outdo one another. And it reminds me an awful lot of the Attitude Era, in which the roster was consistently trying to play top that. Say what you want about the Attitude Era. I've been very vocal about it, saying it wasn't necessarily the best era as far as wrestling was concerned, but as far as entertainment, it definitely stood out. And you did have a roster that consistently was attempting to outperform one another in a very strong team environment. So WWE has seemingly found lightning in a bottle with NXT. The question would be, as we get closer to, we call it spring cleaning because WWE does it every year, who is on the chopping block for WWE? And if you are in charge of cleaning out that roster, who do you keep and who do you let go? I mean, some of it could seem rather easy. Okay, maybe you get rid of a guy like, not to pick on him because he's not a bad performer, but maybe you get rid of a guy like Titus O'Neil. Maybe you get rid of a guy like Bull Dempsey. Again, not making fun of these guys, but these are guys that are not necessarily on the priority list as far as booking. But after you get past only a chosen few, now your roster is not just because of injury, but just in general, everybody's a commodity. So who do you turn loose? How do you start saving money there if that's what the goal is? But before we answer that, we are coming up on the last break of the evening. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to play the role of Ryan Seacrest and say we will answer this question after the break. We'll be right here on Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com. See you right back on Corner to Corner in a few minutes.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on beyondringside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
What's up? Welcome back to Corner Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com. ProWrestlingRadio.net. We're back live here, and we're just hanging out, talking about actually some wrestling card games and all sorts of cool stuff. But when we left you, the question was, here we are coming up on spring cleaning, as most people know, for WWE, and as they get closer to turning some people loose, bringing some people back, the question is, who do you turn loose? If you're in charge of the main roster and NXT, when it comes to cleaning it out and letting people go, after you get past the first few, to me it seems like it would be super difficult to get rid of any of the talents on the main roster or on NXT. But if you had to do it, because you know they're going to, who do you release?
Maryse.
Maryse. Wow. Is she even on a contract? Damn. She just got back in the door.
She's on her knees or something. I don't know.
Whoa. Ow.
Damn. The people at Corner to Corner and Beyond Ringside Radio do not condone such talk against Maryse.
I was kind of happy to see Maryse back. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was too. Especially in the SmackDown outfit.
Was she naked? Was she naked?
I think she might have been closer than I've ever seen her before.
Okay, well, guess what? She's not on Skype. I don't care.
Well, here's a better question. Would you pay $6.99 a minute?
No.
For a conversation with Maryse?
I've been married before. I don't pay $6.99 for anything.
No.
Except the attorney.
All right, so let's try this, Stan.
Okay.
Let's go round table.
Okay.
Who do you eliminate? And we'll go that route. And we'll see what the three of us, if we can't cut some of this fat. And then either fire outright or drop down to next and bring somebody up.
Okay.
So we'll start with you.
All right. So I'll work my way from the main roster down, because when it comes to the main roster, there are some guys there that, to me, just take up space. I would let go of... I would let go of... What's that?
Only one.
One at a time, okay.
Yep.
So first person I would probably release would be Adam Rose. Second violation, doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table, and it's not really a liability if you let him go.
Eddie?
I can only let go of one?
Yep.
We'll come back to you. We're just going round table. So.
Okay, well, the first persons that I would get rid of would be Nate Tambry, Nick Ray. All at once. That's one person, Nate Tambry, Nick Ray.
Okay, so we're going to have to ask you to try that again with one name only, sir.
I did make it all one name.
No, I see what you did there.
Easy. Okay, fine. Summer Rae.
Summer Rae.
You're not doing Playboy anymore, kids, and Playboy doesn't do nude photographs. You got a better chance going to Maxim.
Whoa!
Well, I will take your Summer Rae and your Adam Rose, and I will go with the Ascension.
You got to pick one.
Got to stick to the deal. Only one at a time, sir. See, would you let go of Connor?
Team.
No. One at a time.
Just pick one.
Flip a coin.
Because Connor's the one that's out right now, right?
Okay, yeah, Connor's the one that just recently got suspended.
All right, Connor's gone.
Okay. I guess it's back to me. I would let go of Curtis Axel.
A 3 times.
Alberto Del Rio.
Ooh.
Wow. And the first blood is drawn. Damn.
He cut me like a knife.
Can't stand him. He's a one-trick pony. He's not that talented. He's horrible on the microphone. He's been nothing ever since he and Ricardo Rodriguez had their little split up. And guess what? Double R got the talent in the divorce.
Oh, wow.
All righty. Now this, you got to follow the bouncing ball with this one. But I'm going to say Zack Ryder back to Next and let him fight for the world title down there. The next heavyweight title, whatever it's called. You pay him less money, you move him down, you let him keep building some momentum, and when it's time to bring him back up in a couple of years, you bring him back up. But I would move Zack Ryder.
So Brian abstains from letting him go. However, he does send Zack Ryder down to NXT. Actually, in looking at the roster right now, if there is a person that is taking up space, seemingly, and probably not much longer left, I would probably release Kane.
Wow.
It's not a lack of contribution, but I think at some point or another, Kane's... If there's anything we've seen in WWE, is they're very selective with who they keep around. And I think Kane is not... he's not immune to being part of the cuts.
Eddie?
Do me a favor. Give me an update on who we've cut so far, starting with Stan's first one.
Okay, so first was Adam Rose.
Maurice?
No, well, he selected Summer Rae.
I said Summer Rae. I said Maurice before we officially started.
So Adam Rose, Connor,
Brian?
Summer Rae, Curtis Axel.
ADR.
What?
I went with ADR.
Del Rio.
And Zack Ryder next.
Brian sent Zack Ryder to NXT, and I released Kane. So that's 7.
I would do a similar move to Brian, and I will send Tamina to NXT.
Okay.
That's not a bad move.
If she still has any potential in her whatsoever, NXT will bring that out. If not, cut her.
Nice.
Brian?
Oh, this one might sting a little bit. But I think it's time that The Miz went bye-bye.
Damn you, get out of my playbook.
Damn. The Miz. So officially, get this, it's we have cut loose, and I know that occasionally there are boys in the back that do check us out, so I'm sure we'll hear about this one way, shape, or form. The Miz, Kane, Alberto Del Rio, 3 former World Heavyweight Champions, 3 former WWE Champions, Intercontinental Tag Team Champions, cut loose. Wow.
Gotta go. Bye-bye. See you later.
If there's a guy that I would probably cut loose after that, and I think this is where, here we are, we've really gone through 8 different options here. 9 now. As you get closer and closer to that point, you start looking and you see people that have opportunities. Like with Zack Ryder, he just had his WrestleMania moment. With Kane, longtime veteran. With The Miz, he's Intercontinental Champion currently. I would probably cut Alicia Fox, if only, not necessarily because of a poor performance, but because she really hasn't moved the needle, and you have so many very, very capable women's wrestlers at this time. I think she would bounce back. I think she would go to TNA. I think she would work with Shimmer and some of these other companies. And I think that she'd be very, very successful and probably come back at a later date. But I would probably let go of Alicia Fox.
Not bad. Eddie?
I got 6. I'm trying to narrow it down.
Holy crap! we're struggling. Eddie's like, I got a list. Hang on. Let me just go from top to bottom.
Oh no! Do me a favor. Stan, pick a number between 1 and 6. Okay, better yet.
You're not putting this on me, Ricky.
Stan, odd or even?
Odd.
Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Odd or even?
Even.
John Cena.
Come on. That just doesn't make any damn sense.
Well,
Okay, let me go ahead and do this. Now, actually, Cena would not be a bad idea at this point because the fact that he is getting hurt a little bit more often. Yes, he did come back a little bit soon at Mania, but you know something? He's getting near the end of that run. I think it is time for John to move into the front office, and I honestly think that it might be a great time for him to move behind the microphone and commentary. The 6 that I had, the number 1 on that list is the person that I am sick and tired of being sick and tired about hearing people bitch about because he supposedly has too much stroke, too much power. For the love of God, get rid of Kevin Dunn.
wow.
That is something I would like to see. I think Kevin Dunn has served his purpose, and I would agree. I think it's time for us to see somebody else step into that. Well played, sir.
Oh, then you're going to love my next one.
Okay. Brian, it is to you, sir.
Now, Eddie, you stole from my playbook because I was just going to mention Cena myself.
Whoa, are you kidding me?
No, you could make more money off of Cena right now if you do to him what you did to The Rock. When you bring him back once or twice a year,
Yeah.
and the crowd's going to love him. And then when you advertise them for a show, they're going to spend money to do it.
Yep.
All right, so for my next pick, though, I'm going the opposite direction here.
You're going to fire Hornswoggle? You son of a bitch.
He's already been fired.
Well, fire him again. Who cares?
I'm firing. I'm already fired.
I'm not going with the firing. I'm going with a move. And we're going to take Balor, and we're finally going to bring him to the main roster, and we're going to let him have some fun.
Okay.
Stan? Round 5. Here comes the crucial one. This is round 5.
I'm going to go to NXT, and I'm going to release Nia Jax. I feel like the hiring was done more for the family than for the talent. I think she could use some seasoning that is not available to her right now at the Performance Center. And I think that in 3 years she could come back and be rehired.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie?
I originally started my rant about the so-called remaining divas because I feel that there are some that are beyond help. And when I jokingly made my comment about Natam Breenick Ray,
Yeah.
wasn't joking in the least, people. Because the more of these that you let stay, the more people are going to hang on to, oh God, it's going to suck. You need to clean the whole damn Divas division out, except for Charlotte, Paige, Becky, Sasha, Natalya. Every other damn one of them, it can either go to NXT or hit the bricks. But that's not my official choice. My official choice for someone who should actually either be, and I'm not going to say sent to NXT. I'm just going to sit back and say it may be time for him to concentrate on other ventures. Because the time when he first started doing what he did, he was extraordinarily entertaining. But then he started getting way serious. And I don't know if it's because Vince is in his ear or he took himself too seriously. And with an influx of new talent at all levels in WWE, maybe it's time for John Bradshaw Layfield to step away from the mic.
No.
Wow. I thought in this conversation that we would be cleaning it up a little
take
bit.
me home. Woo, Mom.
Wow.
Give me a heart attack on that one.
Goodness gracious. Good gravy, Navy.
No, look at it. Look at the overall situation in play. For the last 2 years, Layfield has, he doesn't step on Cole near as much as he used to. He steps on Saxton. Saxton, sorry. By the same token, you can tell when he's trying too hard to interject something. As an announcer, and like I said, I got a very humbling lesson last night. Thank you, Curtis Hughes. And like I said, I'm not upset. I'm actually happy because I did what I needed to do. Remember the fact that every day is a learning experience, no matter how many years you're in this business.
Drink.
No kidding. And if the time has come and gone for Jim Ross, who they made it a point to show him on camera at NXT, if his time has come and gone in WWE, and he was one of the 5 best lead men of all time, and for the record, for as much as I like Tom Phillips and Corey Graves, there is one voice I would kill to have on NXT right now. Joey freaking Styles.
Amen to that.
Even Joey Styles himself said he'd love to work NXT. I would love to have Joey Styles on NXT. But honestly, it's not a malicious thing. It really isn't. I think it may be time for John Layfield to go back to climbing mountains or pursue his other business ventures. He's a very, very, very intelligent business analyst, financial strategist, a great player in the stock market along with his wife and his family. But as it comes down to it, over the last year and a half, Layfield just has not been doing it for me that strongly as an announcer. I think he's taking himself too seriously again.
Well then.
Brian, it's on you.
Well, since I'm the guy that likes to break the mold, and since Eddie got to fire his entire Divas division,
I haven't done it yet. I'm just doing it one at a time.
I'm going to say that Bobby Roode and Eric Young need to be hired and put on the main roster. There you have it.
I have to argue the main roster hiring for Eric Young. Bobby Roode, I can see. Eric Young would flourish in NXT.
No. That's crazy. He's crazy, man. People would love that. They show on the main roster.
Beep.
there's the edit for the evening, beep.
Oh, wait. Would I say something?
Fecal.
Which word?
Fecal.
Oh, that okay. Well, you got to admit that was pretty good. I made it 2 hours and for what? Yeah, 2 hours. No, not quite 2 hours.
Not quite 2 hours.
That was a record.
That is actually a pretty good stretch. I'll give you credit for that. Well, if
hold on, who did he say?
If we're on the last round, so we'll call it that.
Okay.
I will make a creative move. I will fire Michael Cole, and I will move Mauro Ranallo to his position. Not a fan. I've never been a fan of Michael Cole's commentary. I do think he loves the industry wholeheartedly, and I think he does know an awful lot. Commentary-wise, I'm just not sold. It's just a personal preference. Absolutely nothing to do with the guy as a person other than that.
Wow, that was bold. Bold. But I think Eddie's probably got one bolder than that.
Yes, I want to fire Vince Russo.
Eddie,
What?
Vince Russo doesn't work for
got a big story we're breaking.
You can't do that because they already did that like a decade ago.
I think I actually did it more than once.
Yeah, right? Vince Russo's been fired more times than I've been hired.
You've never been hired.
Mm.
I just meant in general, not by WWE.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking wrestling and WWE.
In his dreams, he's been hired.
Well, in my dreams, I'm still there. So, in my dreams, I'm a McMahon, damn it. All right, Eddie.
So is it my turn?
Nope.
No, it's Eddie's turn.
Still Eddie's turn.
Nope.
He's got to shock the world.
Yeah, really. Me shock the world? I don't think that'll actually happen.
You did say fire John Cena.
Well, I never officially stuck that one. Just
Okay, I'm just saying.
And Vince Russo.
Yeah,
That was
Vince
awful
Russo.
right there.
You broke the internet.
Oh my God! Did you hear Vince Russo was back in the WWE and he got fired?
The same day.
it took y'all about 2 minutes to find a way to run with that bit. Thank you.
No, Mama, no.
It caught us off guard, Eddie. I don't think we were prepared.
I'm good at that. Okay.
All right, who's your pick?
I would honestly get crucified if I said the next name that just popped into my head. But I think that for all intent and purposes, and this is something that would help network sales, I would send Dolph Ziggler down to NXT.
Wow.
That's
bold. I can
That
actually
was
see
bold.
that happening, though. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I
All right,
think
Brian.
that he's still young enough and talented enough to where he could be a genuine asset, not to mention move straight into the NXT championship picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then he spends 6 months down at NXT, turns right back around, comes up to the main roster, and he's got a brand new attitude, not to mention probably additions to the moveset. And I think that he would absolutely dominate when he got back up.
Much like my man Zack Ryder. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's my go.
Mm-hmm.
My go. And I got last.
That's right. Last call.
So I can't be stopped here. It's like, that's it. Final voice on this. Well, it's not so much a firing, not so much a hiring, but I think it's time that the entire authority retired. No more Vince, no more Stephanie, no more Triple H in power. I love the new format. I don't want to hear y'all run off at the mouth for a half an hour no more talking about some dumb issue. I want to see wrestling because it's on the marquee. It's old, it's outdated, and it just ain't no fun no more. And there you have it. Final word.
Wow. I feel like we
Retired.
just went through an episode of the WWE draft and ended it with and being sent to free agency. Wow. That
Just retire them. Let the whole gimmick go. Bret Hart's
By the
not
way-
wrestling no more.
Brian, who did you say in the last one?
Vince McMahon and the Authority.
Before that?
Oh, before that? Who did I say before that? I said Bobby Roode and Eric Young.
Okay.
wow. Well, unbeknownst to me, this segment has produced a landscape-changing WWE moment that the scary thing here is, while it may not be firings, we actually could witness a changing of the guard like this in this brand extension or brand split that seems to be upcoming. Wow. I'm impressed. I'm interested. I'm definitely intrigued. We're going a little bit into the overtime portion here. Eddie, should we go ahead and just take another break and come on back?
How long are you planning to go?
I don't know, 15 minutes.
Okay, we'll go straight to 15.
Not me, man. I'm the 60-minute man. Woo!
You've already gone 2 hours.
Wow.
Clock out.
And we're all sore. Folks, we're going to go ahead and be right back. When we come back...
Oh, you want to take the break?
I thought we're just going to go straight through?
Yeah, if you're just going 15, let's go straight through.
Well, screw that then. We're hanging out. I guess we're not going to be counted down. Sorry, Brian.
And how many times I done told y'all, don't count me down. Nobody counts me down.
Okay, let me ask you this question. As I'm rewatching SmackDown from this week, Emma versus Paige, did anybody even remember that Emma still worked for the damn company?
Yes, I did.
I didn't.
Zack Ryder remembered.
She's got quite the look now, quite the attitude. I'm kind of liking this Emma more so than the crazy funky Emma that got caught shoplifting.
She just looks psychotic, though.
Been caught stealing.
Once, when I was a WWE superstar.
She just looks psychotic, dude. My kind of woman.
Had a bunch of money, didn't want to pay for it.
What'd she do, steal a WrestleMania DVD?
What was it?
She stole an iPad or something.
Yeah. I mean, she could have been like Kevin. Either float me a check for this iPad, or I'm going to be called stealing and bring some bad news to the WWE. Yeah, no, here's $100. You know,
Man.
I just stole it out of Vince's wallet. You can have it.
I don't even know what to say right now.
I mean, I don't understand people. You know, she probably had money in her pocket. There was probably money on her credit card. Yeah,
I can't understand how something like that happens. How do you get to a position like that where you've just really screwed the pooch, I guess? I mean...
Look, listen, if it was me and I was a WWE superstar and I wanted to swipe an iPod, I would have just made such a fuss, been yelling I'll sign shit for free to all the little kids so that there was a big circle and I would snuck out the back. You know what I'm saying? I could use kids as a distraction. I wouldn't have got... You got money, pay for it, you cheapskate.
I would love to know the whole story to that. Like, what happened?
She was high at the time.
I love her look now. I dig it. I don't want to say it too loud. The wife might be up. You know
the missus.
Yeah, the missus might hear me. I love it. She got some sass about her now. Sass.
Who did Paige piss off is what I want to know. What did Paige do? Because she's been on the losing effort for a while now. What in the world did she do to WWE to make them so angry?
Doesn't she do stupid shit on Total Divas sometimes?
I don't follow Total Divas, so I don't know.
I think she likes to get drunk with some of the Bellas. I think the Bellas they get drunk sometimes too, and they get crazy.
Well, isn't that where Brie Mode came from?
Oh, God. Stan just lost 5-man card points.
Only 5? I'm doing it right, baby. Woo! Brie Mode! And no one cheers. It's like, Brie Mode. No.
And no one cares.
No one. Yeah, right. No one says Brie Mode. Like, when she screams it, no one ever screamed it with her. It just got yelled, and I know that when you're in the ring, the sound is different. Like, you hear reactions, and it's different from that of what we hear on television. It's got to be. But it doesn't really sound like it even draws boos. It's like people just kind of stare at her. And I could be off on this. Maybe Vince sees it differently. I don't know. Maybe Triple H sees it differently. But it does seem to me that the whole Bream mode thing just doesn't draw a reaction. It just seems to fall flat. And yet they let her do it for quite a bit, quite a long time.
And they even made a T-shirt out of it.
I think they were trying to capitalize on her popularity.
What popularity?
Hitching its wagon. Well, she kind of hitched her wagon to Daniel Bryan. In that regard.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
Are you sure?
I mean,
some foreign country, maybe. I'm just saying.
I don't even know what to say about that. I wasn't expecting. Are you saying that in third world countries that talent can be purchased on the black market?
Yeah. Have you ever been with a cute girl from overseas? That's the kind of talent you can purchase.
And Stan Binn
no, sir.
What?
Wait, what?
I said, has Stan been with a cute girl at all? That's the question.
Wow. Lots of wow. I don't even know how to answer any of this. This is awkward. Oh boy.
To quote Jim Ross, I believe it's now a slobber knocker. It's every man for himself.
Ha-ha.
Show has broken down.
It's ugly. It's uncomfortable. Hey, Eddie.
Don't let them listen.
I know that their calendar is available, sir, and I know that we need to go ahead and get that done. Please tell me you've got a calendar rundown to go through, sir.
Actually, I've got something I need to mention before that. For our friends in and around the great state of Georgia, whether all the way up to South Carolina and southeastern Tennessee, this coming Saturday night, April 23rd, the company known as Why We Wrestle, holding a major live event at the church. Some people call it the Old Mud Creek Gym. We call it the Church of Southern Wrestling, 4236 Level Grove Road in Cornelia, Georgia. The Triple Crown champion, the Lethal Dose, Strychnine, continues his mission to be the most fighting champion in history as he takes on the challenge of one of Georgia's most decorated stars, the Revelation, Shane Marks. Jeff G. Bailey brings the can't-miss star of the 2016, the People's Captain, Gunnar Miller, back to the church on Level Grove Road. Last time he was seen, he decimated 2 young wrestlers. His opponents this time will be a bit more experienced and has seen his share of success. He'll be taking on one half of the Ambassadors, Chris Main. One of the main reasons why I would like to say a very special hello to good friends Jeff G. Bailey, Strychnine, Reverend Dan Wilson, and come to find out that I have a good reason to go to Cornelia next Saturday because good friends will be there in action. The Why We Wrestle Tag Team Tournament continues as Billy Buck and James Drake debut as a team against the volatile and unpredictable Viking War Party. They've seemed to be, dude, you got to see these guys to believe them, seriously. Also, wrestling's last true outlaws, the Hooligans, Devin and Mason Cutter. They've earned their name competing all over the country and raising hell wherever they go. They try to add another title to their trophy case via Why We Wrestle. To do that, they have to get through the rough and tumble team known as the Brutes. Jimmy Parker,
the Brutes,
Mark James. These guys, first off, Mark James, longtime friend of the family. And that tag team tournament is going to be 2 great tag team matches right there. I'll leave it at that. Also from there, the 6'5", 300-pound beast, the Deadly Sin 7, returns to competition against Shane Hexton. You've got some great matches coming up, 6 big matches and all. You never know who's going to show up at the church. That's for damn sure. It all starts 8 p.m. Eastern time. Check it out. Why We Wrestle, 4236 Level Grove Road. It's going to be a great time. Also, this Friday and Saturday in Piedmont, Alabama. So for our friends all through the southeastern U.S., Pro South Wrestling presents the Trinity Challenge Cup. The field is set. 8 trios You've got some from around the southeast. You've got the Batiri coming down from the northeast. Chikara fans, you're going to love this one. Trio rules in play, 20 count before you're counted out also. They're going to be going by traditional international trios rules for this tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. Did an interview with good friend of the family, Ace Haven, earlier this evening on Beyond Ringside Live. Everything's going up on the YouTube channel right now. We'll have it loaded on the podcast as soon as possible, all of the podcasts, and also on replay on both stations. So from that vantage point, if you're in and around the southeastern U.S., if you're familiar with trios wrestling, 627 Southern Avenue this coming Friday, this coming Saturday, you got a lot of great stars coming together under one roof at the Pro South Arena for the Trinity Cup Challenge. Folks, live programming will continue Tuesday, the 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We may have a change in the format because originally GCW Radio was supposed to kick off at 9 p.m. Eastern Time and Back to Basics at 10. We may shift that, and Back to Basics may come on full scale at 9 p.m. The following night, Wednesday the 20th, the To Be Determined show, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. And on Thursday the 21st, sorry, had to clear my throat for a change, the Shooters Gallery. Yours truly, Stan Grubb sitting in, Shane Knowles, and very possibly an old friend drops by for the panel this coming Thursday. At Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. We're on LinkedIn and Google Plus as well. Check us out on YouTube, Podomatic, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Downcast, and of course, BeyondRingside.com, as well as ProWrestlingRadio.net. Stan?
Wait, before Stan says another word, Eddie, has anybody ever told you that listening to you talk is like making love to a Marvin Gaye album? It's just such an experience.
I take that as a compliment, and I thank you.
Such an experience.
Cheers. I take that as a compliment, and I thank you very much.
Strong like bull. You know what I'm saying?
What the hell? Okay. Wow, Eddie. Well, that's, I don't even know what to say to that, except he's right. You definitely have a way with words. I don't know if it's like making love or what he said, but that, yeah.
Let's get it on.
Sorry.
The only way he could have made that better if he's have actually said Barry White.
Well, I mean, I don't normally make love to any album, so I just it was either that or Beach Angel. I went with the Marvin Gaye.
Did you just say Beach Angel?
I did. He got the voice of, it's heavenly. It's a heavenly voice.
One too many shots of bourbon, one or too many cartons of cigarettes over the course of the years. Every once in a while, my body rebounds and says, hey, we're going to let you stay healthy for a day. And every other week, it's just like, dude, you're falling the hell apart. By the way, I also want to say to Josh Wheeler and to all the stars at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, I hope y'all had a great show this afternoon. I am so sorry that I was not able to make it. Had originally made plans to do a live broadcast from 2800 Campbellton Road. Josh, I want to thank you for the hospitality. Once again, to all the stars of AWE, I hope y'all had a great time. To the majority of the Kool-Aid drinkers, I hope y'all enjoy the new home on Campbellton Road and take care of it. From what Josh tells me, it's going to be a great home for wrestling for AWE, but a lot of it's going to come down to whether or not the hardcore Kool-Aid drinkers and the ones who like to steal the show actually respect the venue. So remember, we do as, okay, whether you're an announcer, whether you're a referee, whether you're in-ring talent, all the way through the world of pro wrestling, we do what we do for the fans. We appreciate passionate fans. We appreciate vocal fans. We appreciate fans who know how to cut loose and let it go and have a little bit of fun. But when it comes down to it and everything is said and done, there's a difference between letting your hair down, sorry Stan, and trying to be the show. There's a big difference. And if you got to ask what that difference is,
you're the problem.
All right.
Thought I'd answer that for you. It's a big problem.
Hold on, I have to do this. 3, 2, 1. We did that off air. I killed the mic.
Oh boy.
Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire.
Hey, Brian, how can everybody track you down on social media?
Oh, man, that came out of nowhere.
Wham!
So
Bam.
I think it's on Facebook. It's strcp21@hotmail.com. And I don't know the Twitter. I'm not good on the Twitter.
STRCP21 on Twitter as well. Getting a lot better there, buddy. I mean, he even came right out with it. I'm proud of you, buddy. You're doing well.
Well, he shocked me with it. He smacked me. It was like a smack in the face, and the only thing I could do was spit it out.
Say the social media. Smack. Of course, Corner to Corner can be found on Twitter at C2C Radio Show. That's C, the number 2C Radio Show. CornerToCornerWrestling.com. I am still working on format ideas. Again, like I told you when we first put the site out there, massively under construction. Just trying to kind of change it up a little bit. I am actually considering taking it off of WordPress because nothing frustrates me more than not being able to do what I want with a website. You can find Corner to Corner on Instagram at Corner to Corner. That's Corner, the number 2, Corner. You can find me on Twitter at Stan from Krypton. Corner to Corner is also on Facebook, Corner to Corner Radio Show. Or is it Corner to Corner Show? Eddie, I know we went through this the other day.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up again. And of course, I can be found on Facebook, and you can email the show at cornertocornerradio@gmail.com. We always like to get your feedback, your email, fan mail, questions, comments, concerns, gripes, bitches, whatever you got.
Somebody do it, please. We have no email.
I mean, I think, honestly, people are like, it's a long email address, and they're just not sure how to type it. So, Corner to Corner Radio. You can do this. I believe in you.
And for the first email we get, Stan will send you an autographed picture.
Yes. Sure, why not? Yeah.
Only for the first one we get.
Only for the first one. Everyone after, you're all screwed. Hey, special shout out and thank you to Phil Singer Games. They did send me a link to creating a custom Phil Singer Games card. I've gone ahead and retweeted it out there. Folks, once again, thank you so much for your time and your efforts in helping us get the word out there about Corner to Corner Radio. We love doing what we do for you, and have no signs of stopping anytime soon. That's for damn sure. Stick with us as our future plans include making a trip down to Charlotte, North Carolina for Legends Fest, and possibly making a trip down to another part of North Carolina for a charity show. That is supposed to be taking place sometime this summer. We're still waiting on some of the details. Also, there is an event in July 23rd for Masters of Ring Entertainment that we'll be talking about much more as we get a little bit closer to the dates. Again, we will see you again next week, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been a pleasure. Well, final thoughts here. Last call, Brian?
Don't forget to send 3 Guys to WrestleMania GoFundMe page. Will be up soon. We would like to have your donations to send 3 worthy people to next year's WrestleMania. Stan, back to you.
And there you have it. Eddie, it's time to close it down, sir. We are off. We are out, and we are saying sayonara.
In the upper room.
Damn it, that means I got to pay my bar tab.
Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'd like one of those too if she's cute.